I dare you to count the ums. I don't broke the record of ums. Good morning, everybody. My name is Heidi, and I'm here today to talk to you about a book I recently read this week, and it's called Visual Communications: From Theory to Practice, written by Jonathan Baldwin and Lucine Roberts. Now, I want to give a brief overview of the book in its entirety, and that is, I want to cover some concepts and terminology that you see throughout the book. And the first off is vision. It is greater than all the other senses, and you are more likely to recall information that is visual compared to any other type of information. This is made possible because back in the olden days, it was important to see if what you were eating was safe to eat and edible, like a pig, or if you needed to look around and see if something was going to eat you, like a dinosaur. Now brings me to my second case, visual communication. It's a pretty simple terminology. Visual communication is, as the name suggests, is communication through visual aids and described as conveyance of ideas, info, and forms that can be read or looked upon. It also explores the idea that a visual message accompanies text has a greater power to inform, educate, and persuade a person or a group. And the third concept is we don't pay attention to boring things. Yes, that is a very clear and concise piece of information in the statement. Now, after I read the book, I was wondering what makes something visually stimulating and not boring. And after reading the book, I found that visually I came up with this theory, and it wasn't in the book, and it was called the sloth theory. And our very dear Professor Hanley fits the sloth theory perfectly. It stands for short, loud, old, and bald. That makes it to be a very great theory. It's not boring, but that's not an act on our professor here now, because the sloth theory also applies to Mini-Me from Austin Powers. He just gets a little bit older, and the sloth theory would apply perfectly. Now moving on to the big idea. The big idea in the book is, who is your audience? You have any designer, any business person, any company. You have to know who your audience is, who you're catering after to. And this table found in the early chapters of the book, it groups any type of profession we have in the fields, starting with Group A. It's the most prominent and most well-respected professions, such as doctors, lawyers, and presidents. If you are catering for that group of people, then you know that there's more types of professions under that category. And it goes all the way down to category E, which is friends, informal people such as homeless people and unemployed. Not saying that all unemployed people are informal, but they're unemployed. Moving on to the 5 key points. Starting off with form follows function. Well, this book, when I was reading it, it told me, well, instead, if you want to start up a company, you don't want to focus on the logo or what your building looks like. You need to first find out what your deepest level of meaning for your company is. And that is, what do you want your company to see themselves as? And I encourage to say that once you answer that question, and everything else should follow together. And that's why form follows function. Because once you got your function down, then the form will follow. Moving on to Marxism. Marxism is a theory of social change that focuses on the economics in which the production and consumption of goods contributes to the ideological structure of society. The third word is polysemy, and that means multiple images, they have multiple meanings, or one image has multiple meanings, such as a pig. It can mean food, it can mean cute, it can mean fat and ugly. But once you put text to an image, that meaning becomes static. And it's just a word that really piqued my interest because I didn't know there was a word defining them. The fourth key point is process theory. And that's the idea that communication is a linear process that can be directly communicated and described as a theory which form follows function. And then the fifth key point is semiotics. And that is a field of research that studies science that science is an essential part of cultural life and communication. According to semiotics, we can only know culture and reality by means of science through the process of scientification. Now, this brings me to my verdict. Should you read this book? I say, hell no, if you are blind, because there's not a braille or audio version of this book. But for everybody else, I say, read this book because if you are a thinker, you like to think a lot, this book challenges you in thinking because it teaches you what is good design. I found out I didn't know anything about design once reading this book, but I learned a lot from it. And also, if you want to arouse the right hemisphere of your brain, then this book will help change your point of view of design. And it's relatively short. It manages to come under 200 pages, 192 pages, and 25 to about 40% of the book is pictures. We all know that saying that pictures is worth 1,000 words. So if you don't like reading like I do, you can just look at the pictures and you can study the pictures and learn the good elements of design. And finally, if you want to get this book and you want to buy it new, it's $33 new. It comes with a CD. I don't know what the CD contains, but that will be an extra surprise for the money you spend. But if you happen to own an MacBook Pro Retina display or an ultra portable PC that doesn't have a CD drive, then just go used. It's only $10 on Amazon. And I am now here to take any relevant or irrelevant questions. Thank you.
Alexa.
Obviously very interesting. You got all of our attention from the start to the finish. The slides I thought were awesome too. They went very well with you.
Visual simulated.
That's right. I would lose, the hand notes. Or if you're going to, then maybe step up to the podium to read them. But it was thoroughly entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Juan, what'd you think?
All right, Hanley.
The only thing I got to say is, this is prime example of why I gotta film these. Oh, you are filming.
Got the whole thing.
Come in. I want you to send this to me. Let me tell you what. After so many years, so many of these are boring. This, I like. I don't say it often, but I like the theory. I'm writing that on my wall, and I could probably put it up on the door. That's tremendous. You took the book, lived it, right in front of you. Anybody got any questions on the concept, or do we have it? Yeah, well done.